Hello, friends. Happy Sunday. Okay, I am sitting here doing some spiritual studies. Okay, and I wanted to talk about some things that are just, they got my spirit hype. Okay, it's just making sense. Okay, and I want to try to see if it makes any sort of sense to you. Okay, so first of all, I've been reading this book, Jesus in the Essenes. Listen, I don't know how exactly it's pronounced, but good book by Dolores Cannon. Okay, very insightful. Okay, very eye opening. And so you kind of really have to have an open mind when you read this book, okay, because it really is like, it makes a lot of sense. It helps the Bible make more sense to you. But let me just read my notes here from this book, okay? And I just paraphrased a little of what in this one part of the book it says. So listen to this, okay? It says, Jesus was treated as a felon because he dared to make people question. He dared to make them look inside themselves in the heart. Because how many men can look at their souls and face what is there? People doubted because he taught love. He taught that we must not hate and that war is not the way that the kingdom shall be won. But the people did not understand this, okay? So that makes so much sense to me, okay? Because, a lot of times in the church, okay, they teach not to question. They don't want you to seek, okay? They just want you to listen to what they want you to do, what they're telling you to do, period. Okay, they don't want to lose control of the people, okay? But God is in control, okay? Man is not in control, okay? Man cannot control you. You control yourself, okay? People need to think for themselves, okay? God is in control, all right? So that makes so much sense, okay? Jesus dared people to question, okay? But you got people who they say they follow Christ, okay? They tell you not to question. So if you follow Christ, okay, and Jesus Christ dared people to question, why are you telling them not to? Okay, listen. All right. So then I wrote some of these notes down, okay? Now, people love to quote this from the Bible, John 14:6, where it says, I am the way and the truth and the life. Okay, now people take this as Jesus was saying that basically he was God and you need to follow him and all this and that. But no, what my interpretation is, Jesus is saying that he knew the way to God. Okay, he knew the way. The way is through the heart, through love. Okay, God is love. Okay, Jesus knew the truth of who God was. God is love and light. Okay, God is love and light. God is not hate and darkness. Okay, and you see, this is what is circulating in the world today. People have hate in their hearts. People have dark hearts. Okay, and what was that quote I just said? People, they don't dare to look at their own soul. They don't want to take a look inside. Okay, because it is dark in there. Okay, people don't want to look at that. All right. And then it says, I am the way and the truth and the life. Jesus he lived. Okay, he had a good life, a peaceful life. Okay, because he had God in his heart. Jesus walked his heaven on earth. Okay, he had a clear mind, a clear heart. He wasn't bogged down by past hurts and shame and guilt and darkness. He didn't have darkness in his heart. He had love. He had light. Okay, therefore he walked his heaven on earth. He lived a light life. Okay, and it radiated outwardly. Okay, he radiated love because that's what he had inside. Okay, and I wrote here, people say Jesus saves, yet they still suffer because they rely on external saviors. Okay, y'all relying on a figure. Okay, y'all rely on Jesus, but Jesus is in the spirit. Okay, his body no longer walks this earth. Okay, so it's like, he cannot save you. He cannot save you. You need to save yourself. You need to go within. You need to do what he taught you to do. Okay, you need to start questioning some things. Okay, why are you so nasty? Why is there so much darkness in your life? Okay, look inside. Why do you hate so much? What is really the problem? Okay, you have to question these things. Just like the Bible, you have to interpret the words deeply. You have to really understand and feel and question. You have to question. You cannot just go along with the get along. Okay, you see how we've been doing this forever and nothing has worked. It's still darkness. There's still war in the world because people just going along with whatever's being told to them. They're not asking questions, not asking enough. So then I got to thinking, Jesus being put on that cross, him being the savior. My thinking is this was a test for the people, for the masses. Okay, I wrote, were the people tested? Were they supposed to save Jesus from bearing the cross and the torture? Okay, and the pain that Jesus must have endured to be let down by the same people he tried to help. They failed him. Okay, Jesus was an innocent man. He did no harm. Okay, people knew this. He didn't do nothing but spread love and light, and yet they sat there and did nothing. They watched him suffer. Okay, they did not try to save him. Jesus tried to show y'all another way. He tried to help you live your life in love and light. But people let that darkness, okay, they let the Romans, okay, the government tell them that this man was guilty. He was guilty of nothing but spreading love. Okay, the people fell into that darkness. Okay, they allowed the government to tell them. They were misled, basically. So yeah, the people stood back and watched Jesus be tortured. Okay, an innocent man, they watched. They had a chance to come together in that moment with love for this man and save him. Okay, they could have changed the destiny. Okay, destinies change with the choices that you make. They had a choice and they chose not to help this man. Okay, and so in Jesus' final words. Okay, I just wrote down a few phrases here. His final words. This is Matthew 27:46, Mark 15:34. My God, why have you forsaken me? And I question this verse. Okay, was Jesus speaking to God within the people? Okay, because we all have God within us. We are all made in God's image. Okay, we carry the Spirit of God within us. Was that who Jesus was speaking to the people? Why have you forsaken me? Why have you left me? Okay, the people followed Jesus up until that point. And then they didn't, they said they believed in all this and he was love and light, but then they watched him get tortured, okay? They watched him suffer and they did nothing to help him. Okay, and then at the end, Luke 23:34, he said, Father, forgive them, for they do not know what they are doing, okay? The minds of the people, they follow darkness, okay? People are still doing it today. They allow the government to lead them astray is what it is, okay? War, fussing, fighting, killing, okay, arguments, going back and forth about nonsense, and the people just going along with it. Okay, that's why Jesus said forgive them, because they don't know. Okay, people got to do some soul searching. That's what Jesus was preaching. Okay, people got to look within. Okay, something ain't right. Why are we following these people who are leading us astray? They're not leading with love. Okay, y'all watch this news every single day. Every time I turn the news on, I don't see nothing loving on there. People will sit and watch it all day long. Watch darkness. Watch hate. Okay? They're consuming that. They're absorbing that into their being. It makes so much sense to me. I don't know. Y'all let me know what y'all think in the comments. Okay? Because I want to hear your viewpoints. All right? I ain't going to argue with nobody. I'm not going to debate because it already makes sense to me in my heart. Okay? It makes sense to me. I'm not going to argue, but I just want to know what y'all think about it if it's making sense to you.